asking?
I'm not sure, but he will be back. He'll be probably dealing with kids. But welcome everybody. We are back for another vampire. We'll just turn some cameras on here because people are actually here. Hello, look, they're there.
It's like it's magic.
Grimm's face is behind the symbols, but he's there.
Go like this.
It leaned to one side, Grim.
I look better this way.
I can just turn that off for the time being. But we are all here. We're just waiting on Baz to return. He's gone to do something, but he'll be back very shortly. Dame Mortem, what's up? So, obviously tonight is the other side of the last session that we had. So last week, for those that were here and for those that weren't here, we had Aaron and Pip and Echo at Jackson's Haven questioning Ginny and Jeremy, the two prisoners locked up there, and we're hanging out with Nathan, one of the prince's coterie. And this tonight's session's the other side of that that same night, so the same time frame, just at a different location. So Jaxon and Zane have been transported to Elysium with the prince and the sheriff and the remainder of the coterie to assess and get started the outfitting of some semblance of security, updated security at the Elysium. That's pretty much where we're at as far as that's concerned. So yeah, so welcome everybody. Hope you're ready to go. In a moment I'll be switching off the lower cameras, as those particular players are not in the scene, but they will be around. They'll be in the chat, so feel free to chat with them in the chat and ask questions. Obviously if it doesn't give away anything in the story, we'll answer them. But we will hand over now to our storyteller for our recap, and we'll get started.
Right. Thought I had a bleeding nose. Perfect.
Awesome. Gotta love that.
It's all good. She gets them all the time. I just don't want it on the carpet.
Did you have to do a rouse check?
I was just going to say, maybe I should make you all do a rouse check for that. Willpower check. Righto. So, as Eva was just saying, we're reliving the next night. But what happened previously? The first 2 hours of the night had passed, and you all met Jackson's Haven with the prince and the sheriff. We separated there into our two parts. The first part of our story beginning at 8 p.m. on a Friday night and finishing on 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning. You left inside Jackson's Haven were Aaron, Echo and Pip, and along with a few of Jackson's people and one of the prince's coterie, a toreador named Nathan. Their task was to question Ginny and Jeremy in the lockup cells. Zane's severed hand found its way into a few puns and into Pip's pocket. Blood was injected into a torpid Ginny, while the first line of questioning was aimed at Jeremy. The coterie discovered quickly that Jeremy was a Malkavian and that he was terrified of the prince and the sheriff. He was scared of the prince, mostly of what he would do to him, but he never said a bad word against the prince, which could have something to do with the fact that he had been partially blood bonded over the last few nights. Jeremy also showed them how he was a great actor and could act like a few different people. Jeremy/Tim was unsure of Pip, even though they do share the Malkavian gene. And Nathan was happy to tell the Anarch that his sire's territory, the area, was now Sabat owned. The coterie then decided that Jeremy was probably just the wrong guy in an unfortunate situation. So our coterie changed cells and turned their questions to the hateful Ginny. Ginny called the hounds blanks, which Aaron picked up on pretty quickly. She told them how she hated all kindred and that they were all beasts who deserved to die. Echo discovered an earpiece and Aaron found some weaponry in Ginny's vest, and they proceeded to text Jaxon and Zane about it. Ginny answered many questions, and she answered them in her hateful sort of roundabout way, proving that even though she felt pain, she was unafraid of final death. The coterie let Nathan, Leslie's fabulous right-hand man, have a turn roughhousing Jenny for some answers, and he took pride in firing a few rounds into her knee and her foot, as well as dislodging her jaw. She only gave him a few more answers, however. But when Aaron started using his claws to play with the knee injury she'd suffered, and Echo probed further using her own abilities, as well as knowing that her own blood was now in Jenny's system, that got the name of some Second Inquisition agents, or at least one. And of course, the spiteful Jenny spat out a couple of other names closer to home for some. Echo did cut out Jenny's tongue, but her own hunger got the better of her, and utilising the Tommy gun, whilst having the others leap into action to stop her from killing Jenny. Unfortunately, this ended in Pip taking a few rounds in his ribs for helping. But finally, with daylight only an hour or so away, the kindred began to leave Jackson's Haven. So welcome, everyone, once again, as the very same Friday night has fallen over Melbourne. The weather is clear, and the moon shines brightly. An old clock somewhere chimes 8 consecutive times, as we are back, near the beginning of the third night of our tale, but this time somewhere in Northcote, where Jaxon, Zane, and Prince Leslie and a few of his crew have just come from Jackson's Haven, where they left Echo, Aaron, and Pip. A team has been organised within this building they call Elysium. They're going to be setting up some proper surveillance. It looks like Zane is ensuring that the encryptions and firewalls are set up, and he's trying to keep unwanted eyes out. Thanks to Jaxon and an extra 12 security guard on this evening and another 12 for the day shift, there is a lot more enforcement around. And this is where I'll leave it to you. You guys are in the main ballroom where this all began, as you guys are organising, the Prince, the Sheriff, Zane and Jaxon, all there organising what is going on with this surveillance at this time. It's about 20 past 8 around.
So where's Zane at this point? Is Zane there as well, or is he in the office sitting up?
Zane, would you be in the office, or would you be walking around with a portable laptop?
Walking around portable laptop, working out what cameras should go where and what would be the best use of cameras.
Yeah, so Zane's in with you guys, yeah.
Yeah, so, and who else is with us? The Prince?
Prince and his coterie. So you've got a roughly 50-year-old...
Sheriff as well?
Yeah, and the Sheriff, yes. Roughly a 50-year-old looking male. They're all wearing similar suits to the Prince. Tidy. He seems quite the Aussie with his accent, polite and respectful, but he pushes that accent. Another man in his 40s, he's hanging around with the other older person, and another male sort of hanging out near the doorway. When he speaks, it's usually with a bit of an Irish sort of twang to it. Nothing heavy, but it's there. And I'm not doing any of those accents, just so you're aware. Just so you're aware.
Oh, come on.
We'll destroy them.
So we're in the main ballroom. So Jaxon would definitely have remembered the ceiling part, things like that. Yep. And Zane, obviously we need internal, external cameras, thermal, infrared, motion capture, the works for the exterior. And for this part of the Elysium, as far as the rest of it, I'm going to need to talk to the Prince further. I've got some ideas for entry and exits, which I want to discuss with the Prince first. But if you want to get started on those cameras, try not to annoy the Prince. You really don't want to lose your other hand.
Speaking of your hand, Zane, would you like to, I believe you have an aggravated damage from that. Would you like to try and heal any of that, or are you happy to let it sit for now?
Happy to let it sit for now.
Okay.
Jaxon would probably poke it. Does that hurt still?
Little bit.
Right.
Now, where do I leave it?
I think you left it back at my head. It'll be fine.
No.
You don't need it. You can grab a new one. It's fine. It's good.
I miss it. See, I can't do this. See, I can't.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Laptop, cameras, like infrastructure, have it all linked. You know what you got to do. You've done it all before. I don't need to tell you.
Zane, do you send a text to Pip asking where your hand is?
Yes.
That's good because that will coincide with our previous game.
Once that conversation has taken place, Jaxon would turn his attention back to the prince and the coterie and the sheriff and approach them with respect. He would probably hang back a little, wait to be invited into a conversation, but I'd put myself there, basically letting him know that I kind of need to have a word about stuff.
So, Prince, currently you and Sheriff are looking over some blueprints of the building. These are blueprints that you guys know the council does not hold and no government agency holds either. There's a blueprint specially mocked up by kindred draftsmen, and you, the sheriff, and two of your coterie are looking over them while one of the men stands by the door and he's just keeping an eye on all the other. He's a little less, the Irishman, he's a little less, he doesn't trust a lot of extra people that he doesn't know, so he's just keeping an eye on them.
So while Jaxon is just waiting for the invite, I'm saying to Marco and the rest of the coterie, I want no expenses. Whatever we need to get, let's secure this. This is supposed to be, Elysium is supposed to be a neutral ground, a safe ground for all kindred to come and speak their business. It's been that way for many centuries. And while I am somewhat reluctant with the technology, and at what point in this when he notices Jaxon and gives him the wave over to come and join.
Cool.
And he will
So
do.
Jackson, you get...
And he wouldn't interrupt, he'd just wait.
My concern with the technology is it's not so much that the Camarilla doesn't like technology, it's more the concern that this technology can be easily traced. So I need some form of assurance, Jaxon Spencer. How will these new measures for Elysium, how safe will they be? How protected are we going to be with these systems?
Well,
but I also will say one other thing before I let you answer, Jaxon. I'm sorry. We need to speak to the Tremere and get more of these wards set up. Let's have a combination of this modern technology, but let's use what we know as well.
Indeed.
Let's go with the double prong. Let's protect this double-sided.
100% agree. In fact, it was one thing I was going to talk to you about. Warding the interior would be your best option if you want to keep a lot of the technology out of inner Elysium. As far as tracking, tracing, and things like that, I'm pretty certain that if it is set up the same or similar to my own haven, we can have it off the grid, not linked back to any local servers. It'll all be in-house, closed circuit, designed for you and the coterie and the sheriff to view at your discretion. Higher quality cameras, thermal, infrared imaging, motion detection. Just close a few of those extra doors that have been left open.
And with what we've already got in place, how would that have hindered your initial investigation?
I don't think it would have hindered our initial investigation, and ultimately if we'd had some of these things in place earlier, we would have seen more clearly faces, we would probably have a bit more information on those that were hanging around the day of and the day before this first attack took place. We did have some footage from the exterior, but it wasn't very clear, and it gave us a lead, but we could have gotten a lot more.
Okay, understood.
The Prince chimes in and says, that is true. However, we do know, and he looks at Prince Taylor and he says, we do know that there are kindred out there, and we've discussed this before, that will not show as well on cameras, if at all. So there are possibilities.
That was the one thing I was going to talk about. A technology that has started to surface recently. I'm not sure how much Zane knows about it, but I've been doing a little research myself, as it is my livelihood, my business, to ensure the safety of obviously myself and other kindred. Multi-spectrum cameras. I see several more spectrums of light than current cameras. It is entirely possible that these particular types of lenses and cameras may be able to detect those that do not wish to be detected.
Jaxon, your phone
Not tested.
is vibrating in your pocket as you speak to.
And initially I'll ignore it and just finish my thought and simply just say that infrared would also, I think, pick those up as well. As even though they may be able to manipulate what is seen, the heat from the body can always be seen. Or that lack thereof, in our case.
Interesting.
If you don't mind, and he reaches and grabs his phone and checks his phone.
Okay, you've received a text from Zane. It says, and he's only just across the room from you, but it says, need blast-resistant windows.
Everyone that's standing around whatever this blueprint is on would see Jaxon visibly roll his eyes and probably sigh just a little bit. Zane has just messaged me. Bullet resistant or shatter resistant glass would be an option also, which is something I had thought of and wasn't going to bore you with such mundane things. I mean, these things are pretty obvious. It would be part of the package.
I want you and Zane to do what you feel is required to make Elysium safe for everybody.
Which brings me to my next point. These blueprints, obviously not available anywhere else.
No.
Do they show all exits and entries into Elysium?
They will.
Are you happy for me to take the extra care and implement a similar set of annoyances for those trying to enter if they were to gain access to those particular passages? As if you remember being led through the passages to my own haven.
I will say that your measures and turns back to Marco and the coterie, considering Marco also went through this. Doesn't that remind you of back in the day when we used to run back in the day and we had exactly the same setup for the era? I was quite impressed. So
Marco nods and he says, you're right, Prince. We actually have in the lower areas the actual Elysium council rooms where we do some of our work. There are traps in that. The exits through the underground are trapped, and you'll find when you went to check on the windows with Aaron, you'll find they were already toughened, thickened, bulletproof glass. So we do have a lot in place. We may not be, up to date with computers, but we are definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
well-guarded.
with all due respect, the material that you used was definitely bulletproof, but blast proof, not so much. Technology still keeps moving, and the available materials now are becoming more and more resistant to fire explosives as well. So it's a matter of upgrading from time to time. We're keeping, I mean, as you know, this is my business. I have countless kindred havens that we have secured, and we keep upgrading them as well.
Zane,
as much as we can.
As this conversation's going on and you're walking around with your laptop looking around, you receive a text from Pip. He replied to your "Have you got my hand?" text. It says, "I am using it. It's very important."
Okay. I text back. You have my hand and it's important. Take good care of it.
You receive a text back not too far in the distant future. About 10 minutes passes and it says, "I have your hand and we do not negotiate with terrorists."
Tried scratching his head with his missing hand. Oh, that's right. He's got it.
Zane, what are you doing at this moment while the Prince and Jaxon and the Coterie are chatting about the paperwork in front of them?
Just thinking about mundane stuff. Like, why don't we have cows? Humans eat cows. Humans drink the milk, eat the meat. What do they do with the blood? Do we use the blood? What do vegans taste like?
A night in the heat of Zane Riviera. The sheriff says to you, Prince, "My Prince, there is also the matter of tonight's second arrangement with the council below in the council rooms for the Primogen.
Absolutely.
It's in about an hour's time if you wish to get ready."
Sure. Actually, to just before I head off, I will say to Jaxon, "Listen, as long as the inner sanctum and the underground cells are not touched with the technology, because everybody doesn't need to know what goes on in there. Everything else, I'll leave to you and your crew. Whatever you feel is necessary." And starts walking towards over Zane and puts his hand slowly onto his shoulder. And I say, "Now, I need you to do something. Can you check what we've currently got for any potential bugs or listening devices?" As I said back in when we all were at Jackson's Haven, I have suspicions that things are happening. Now, if what you're saying is true, that conspirators were walking in and out of our building, then they would have had potential opportunity to drop these devices in Elysium. So I need to know how secure things are right now.
Yep, I'm on it. Just one thing. What do vegans taste like? Do you even know? Or vegetarian? What about a vegetarian? I'll get back to it.
Prince, I would say you've probably fed on just about anything and everything in your time at some stage.
And I just lean over and kind of whisper in his ear and it says, I'll tell you another time, but it's good. And then I will say, look, we need both yourself, Jaxon, and Zane to be present for this council meeting. You're there merely as observers, but this will give you a better insight of what you can see as potential risks. Like I said, we may not be using technology, but there might be other things that we can do to secure or protect these areas that cannot be done.
The sheriff nods and he says yes, and with a couple of the coterie down, it would be nice to have Jaxon, yourself, and Zane in that room in that council meeting.
Any extra bodies you need, just let me know. I've 30 or 40 loyal guys that would be more than happy to protect Elysium.
I'll leave that detail between you and Marco to sort out. And with that, I will go into my personal chamber and get ready for the council meeting.
And Marco heads off, and as he does, he says, I too, looking at his sort of casual look, the council won't be happy seeing us looking like this. Get changed. Zane and Jaxon, I will send someone for you when the meeting's about to start.
Will we be required to dress more appropriately? Okay.
What is Jaxon currently in?
He's pretty casual, like his jean jacket, jeans, boots.
Yeah, it'll be more of a suit and tie occasion. Zane, okay. You're in the same boat. You have to be smart enough.
Smart casual.
Okay.
I'm a business person after all. I try and look the part. Apart from the sleeve, it'll be fine.
If you're definitely in your business gears, then you should probably be okay. So
Jaxon would approach one of his guys, whether it was Eric or Joe, and just get them to send someone to go grab his jacket and basically his business attire, which he doesn't ever wear a tie, but it'd be shirt, jacket.
Easy enough done. And the Prince's coterie follows him out as well, so none of the coterie are left there. It's just Jaxon, Zane, and whatever bodies you have working on this place.
Sweet. First thing Jaxon would do would, again, go over to Zane. Zane. Now, we've been given awesome opportunity here to outfit this place. But it has to be off the grid.
What are these wards that we talk about?
Do you know anything about the Toreador? Blood magic, things like that.
Tremere.
Sorry. Blood magic.
Only what I read.
Well,
I'm still
what do you know about magic? What have you read about magic?
I can go invisible. Yep,
similar.
That's it.
Very similar. But think more aggressive.
Okay, yep.
So it don't worry about that for now. But what I want you to do, and
what kind of wards are they?
Focus, Zane. And I grab his wrist, his stump wrist, not to hurt him, but just to center him a little bit and get him to focus on me. Just for a couple of minutes. Now, they do not want this to be able to be hacked from the outside. Closed circuit, off the grid.
Possible, yes.
But, listen, I want you to do me a favor. You must keep this quiet. You say anything, this could cost all of us and bring final death for everybody.
Okay.
I want you to build in a back door that only you can access.
Oh, I love those.
Keep the voice down.
Okay, sorry.
So you understand what I'm getting at?
Yep.
I don't entirely trust everyone in this building at this point. Something's going on, and I need to be certain of something from the inside. It's too much information that's gotten out that could only come from the inside. So make sure it cannot be traced. So I'm sure the prince will go over this with a fine-tooth comb to ensure that what we've done is airtight. So you do what you do. We have, and pretty much he'll take Zane over to the, sorry about that. He takes Zane over to the blueprints and shows him exactly where they've been given permission to put stuff, and he'll show obviously the lower levels where in Elysium that we're not allowed to put anything, and literally go over the places and say, and we'd go over that mundane stuff. Okay, X amount of cameras here, infrared, thermal, motion detectors, all that sort of stuff, exterior cameras.
Okay.
I would then probably leave him to his devices for probably an hour, and
that's gonna be fun.
Take Joe. You wouldn't be on your own. There'd be other people there, but I'd take Joe, Eric, and probably 2 or 3 of my most trusted to have a look at the access tunnels, see what traps are there, and see on what can be improved. Ultimately.
Good as gold. No worries, and with that you can. You wouldn't be too long knowing that they were going to call on you within about an hour, but you'd probably have enough time to get through there.
Just to the basic areas. It's more not going to do the entire tunnel system. It'd be just the entry points, looking at what they have at the entry points and what I can improve on it with what I already have at my place and what I can add.
Yeah, so nothing they have is as advanced as yours. They've got old school tripwires.
Yeah, that's what I kind of
Tripwires
figured.
with spike traps. There's pits, there's crushing things, deadly poisonous spikes that fire out. Quite impressive. But there's also, and someone mentioned it in the chat just before, this is where during this walkthrough, your men and you are all stopped. A older, I'll get his character sheet up. Once I get the right page. This is an older man. Looks to be possibly 50s or 60s. Hard to say. He comes out of the corridor towards you. He's sort of got shoulder length, sort of wavy straw-like hair, quite dark with a few grey streaks through it. And he says, "Hello, can I help you?"
No, not particularly.
No?
We're here doing work for Prince Taylor and Sheriff Marco.
Oh yes, I have heard. Well, I am William. I'm the keeper of Elysium here. And they told me you'd be upgrading what has been here in the past hundreds of years.
Improving a little. Most will stay, but we'll be adding some extras to ensure the prince's safety.
That is good.
And the coterie, of course.
Correct. And the dealings that went on in the ballroom were undesirable, to say the least.
Yes, I was rather close to those dealings. Really do not wish to be that close to Open Flame again.
Thankfully, the real Elysium council rooms are much more hidden away than the open ballroom we use to allow the regular people in.
Indeed.
I will show you where you need to go, for this is my domain. I see you have the blueprints.
Yes. All we really need to see is the entrances, and maybe 100 feet either side, just to add some of my own. How would you say, my own panache to security. The prince has seen some of what I can do.
He takes you through some corridors to each of the entrances. There is quite a few more than you'd probably even expect. And as you know, that this block backs onto the local graveyard, and some come out through crypts in the graveyard, some come out on the side streets, some come out in other buildings. It seems through the blueprints you have, they actually own just about every building on this street, including in the first night there was a bar down the road called the Raveyard, and they also own that nightclub, and they have exits through there as well. And every corridor to every exit has multiple doors. And William points out to you on the way, and he says, I have warded here. I have put a ward here. It wards against kindred, it wards against spirits. I've put a ward here. And he just goes on and on about these different wards, acid wards, all these things, blood wards that can strip blood from a creature, kindred or human.
Has the prince spoken to you about increasing the amount of wards on these levels and above?
He has, and he says I would be good to work with you.
Indeed. I have some ideas on some extra security measures in the tunnels leading to the entrances, and a few extra wards along the way would certainly...
Oh, you know of wards, do you?
I've heard of them. I'm not... I'm unable to do that sort of thing myself, but I'm aware of what they do and what they can do.
Well,
Some
lucky
dealings.
for you, the prince keeps good company and chooses his people wisely. For
That he
I
does.
am of that type that can make these wards.
Good to know. Well, if I send word to you where such wards would be of aid, I'll leave that in your hands.
And it shall be done.
I'll also add to these current blueprints, well, not add to them, but add a sheet which will give you the whereabouts of the extra security measures.
That would be appreciated, as I would not wish to walk into a trap that you have set that I did not know about.
That would not be a good idea.
No. Also, the council, when they are here, the Archons and the Justicars, I am the one who leads them through these spaces. I would look a little untoward if I was to lead them unknowingly into one of your setups.
Of course. Definitely
Okay.
wouldn't want that.
Well, if that is all you need from me for now.
Yes, I think so.
I have to head to the council rooms, for there is to be a meeting shortly.
Yes, I'm also to attend. In fact, I should probably be back up to change.
You strike me as one who can handle themselves, and he's sort of eyeing you up and down.
You could say that.
Good. These times, this is probably needed. But be wary. You cannot use your powers here within the meeting chambers, nor weapons, and every kindred shall be safe. And let your friend know the same. And he looks at the people behind you.
I will do. We don't often need weapons to look after ourselves, as you say.
Elysium is supposed to be safe for all, unless a judgment is given. So, we shall keep it that way. I shall see you in the meeting chambers later. And he heads off. Zane, sorry.
Jaxon would probably look over at Joe and just again raise an eyebrow. Not used to the formalities and generally not dealing with Tremere or most other clans all that often. It just, yeah, it's kind of like, whoa, creepy dude.
Zane, you've been upstairs for about a good half an hour to 45 minutes. What are you up to and what are you planning?
So, with my disability that I have at the moment, I decide Now's a good time to bring out my Google glasses.
Same as Google Glass.
So I put them on, start taking photos that download to the laptop of specific areas that I think need to be covered and all that, and adding side notes that maybe need warding, maybe not, and so on.
Okay, noted. It is at this time, before Jaxon arrives back, one of the prince's coterie steps to you. And he says, and it is the older man I mentioned first, looks to be about 50-ish. He comes up to you and he says, "Hello, mate."
Oh, hi. Yes, what? Did I do something wrong?
No. I've just been told to let you know that there is a meeting going on shortly and you must get ready. If not, come with me now.
But I don't know you.
It's a meeting with the prince and your mate Jaxon is going to be there as well.
Okay, let's go.
Right. I'm George, by the way.
Oh, Zane, sorry.
Right. Yeah, they told me you're a strange one, so...
I'm not strange. Who told you I was strange? Or how I could be. Maybe, I don't know.
So, see, I was there when the prince took your hand, mate. Hey, listen, I don't think it's a great idea to keep that mouth a-flapping. Just lock it down, follow me.
Hey, do you know what vegans taste like?
He just walks, looks back at you and carries on walking with the idea you're following him.
Okay.
About the same time, Jaxon, as you're heading back through the corridors, one of the other males comes up to you, your men, and he says, "Mr. Spencer, I do believe it is that time."
Right. 5 minutes. I need to change my shirt and jacket. We're there. Oh, and as with that, takes his jacket off, removes the 2 pistols that he's got in his belt, hands them to Joe. The knife, the cell phone, just starts unloading the boot knife, just the things that he carries, and hands it all over to Joe before changing and following him.
Good. One point, Jaxon, you mentioned you were going to check your cameras.
Yes, before heading in, Jackson's the only one that has access to the cameras in his haven and can access remotely, and just curiosity, just to see roughly what's going on. I turn on my phone and go through the app and just check I think there's 17 cameras all up that I can access from my phone. 2 in the main living area where he left the others, Echo and that. 1 in each cell, and then in other areas, the main corridor where they were in, they wouldn't get coverage, but generally in those areas.
So the cells, you can see a torpid Jeremy and a torpid Jenny off the bat, and when you scroll through the hallways and that, nothing's happening. You can see your own men. You get to the main room. In the main room, how many cameras in that main room itself?
4, 5 if you include the infrared.
Sweet. So the infrared picks up on heat signature?
Yep. Or lack thereof.
Lack thereof. Yeah, like a cool signature as well. Yep.
It picks up the whole spectrum of heat.
Cool. You get a viewpoint from one of the cams of your desk, and you can see Nathan, the Toreador, sitting there. He's leaning over the desk with his elbows, and then he leans back and goes to put his feet up on the desk. Right as he does, Aaron and Pip are sort of in the view as well, but as you see him putting his feet just up on the desk, the camera starts to go fuzzy, and then it sort of shadows over and fuzzies up very heavily, and you can't see from that camera. So you flip to another one in the room, and that fuzzes over as well. you're having some digital difficulties with the cameras in that room.
But he definitely looked like he was going to put his feet on my desk, though.
He was halfway through the motion of it, correct?
Right. Jaxon would definitely take mental note of that. But also, he would be very interested to wonder why his camera system is appearing like that, because it generally shouldn't.
You flick back through the cameras and the others in the cells are clear, and the rest of it that you've got set up around seem to be clear. Just that one room.
That one room?
At this moment, yeah.
I mean, Jax doesn't know too much about what other kindred clans are capable of. I mean, obviously he knows the Tremere have the ability to do magic and things like that. Whether he'd put two and two together, I don't know. But it would definitely be something he'd take mental note of anyway.
Good as gold. Prince, you are changed and ready to go, and you're led into the council room, which, as you well know, this is the real Elysium. It's beneath the ballroom floor. It is like I'd say like a 1950s lounge room sort of setup. It has all the bar and the leather seats, standing tables, but everything is fancy. No cost has been spared. The council are already here. There's a good bunch of council members that you know well. I won't go into the details of all of them, but male and female kindred amongst them. The Keeper of Elysium, William, is at the door. And he greets you as you come through and is seated with the sheriff to your side. They put you in a nice, one of your favourite leather lounges, as where you do most of your adjudicating and talking with the councils. The Keeper of Elysium, as everyone comes in, is making sure they're carrying nothing in the way of, and he's not doing it himself, there's a couple of kindred guards, but making sure that no one is carrying anything in the way of technology. And the council especially know there's no technology in here, so if a cell phone goes off, it is treated as extreme bad manners, and they dealt with severely. You sit in your seat, and Marco says to you, "We'll just wait for Jaxon and Zane. Your men have gone to retrieve them, sir."
Very good. While we're waiting for them, I will stand up and I'll first of all walk over to the Tremere Primogen.
Yep.
And obviously do the formal greetings and ask how they were.
So the Tremere Primogen is a male. His name is Bobby Stigwood. You would know Bobby.
Good evening, Bobby.
My prince.
Listen, I thought it should be known, you probably already do know, that unfortunately we have lost tally.
Yes, we've heard the news. My condolences, we all were sad to hear that.
Well, my condolences to Clan Tremere for the loss of one of your own.
We appreciate that, and we do appreciate the effort you're putting in on finding these assailants.
There may be a time where I may need to call on the Tremere.
As you well know, my prince, our clan is with you.
Very good.
Whatever we can.
And with that, he acknowledges Bobby, shakes his hand, puts his hand on his shoulder, and walks over to the Malkavian Primogen.
Malkavian Primogen is a woman by the name of Mary Bryant.
Good evening, Mary. How are you? Thank you for coming tonight.
I'm doing well, thank you. Always matters of the council.
Listen, it's my duty to regrettably inform you that we lost one of our own tonight from your clan. You know, he served me well.
He did.
His advice, while unconventional at best of times, was always taken with great reverence and respect, and I would like to offer my condolences to you and the clan for losing one of your own, but also thank the clan for his service as a coterie to me. I know it's not the way we wanted to start it off tonight, but I didn't know if I was going to have an opportunity to speak. So
she gives a nod and she says, John Eyre, one of our best. I loved his artworks, and we have them hanging here, and she sort of motions to the wall around this lounge room where some artworks are hanging and they have his name on them. He will be missed dearly. And then right as she says that, and you're used to this, Prince, she turns her head to the side and says, he will be missed dearly, in like another voice. And she looks back to you and she says, if there's any other about our clan that you need to give you a hand at any stage, you only need call, and we can put things right. And once we solve this problem, and then she turns her head to the side, yes, solve this problem.
We will solve this problem together. And again, he extends the hand for the handshake.
She takes it.
And respectfully nods and bows, and just quickly says hello to the other Primogens before taking his seat, probably around about the time where Jaxon and Zane are about to walk in.
Yeah, you're just walking back to your seat as they're coming through the door. As the Keeper of Elysium, William, sort of motioning to them any electronics to be gone. Your crew, the remainder of your crew walks in as well. The council chamber doors are closed. Jaxon and Zane, this is a lovely lounge space. It's, like I say, something straight out of one of those 40s or 50s movies. Candles more than electric lights. There are electric lights, they are dimmed, but they're like candle lamps on the wall that are covered in glass shrouds, wrought iron, in really nice sort of motif. Everything is sort of like a reddish leather, not bright like that, sort of dark reddish, almost a red purple leather. And it's a little bit self-indulgent maybe, but it suits the area, I guess you could say. It is that stage that Sheriff Marco steps up to the middle of the space, and he says, and he sort of looks around the room as the Keeper of Elysium closes the door, and he says, welcome everyone to a adjournment of the council. We welcome all the council members, and he sort of nods to all the Primogen around the room. And once again, welcome Prince Taylor, and he gives you a bow. He says, today there's one thing on the cards that must be dealt with that isn't in our main viewpoint at the moment, but cannot be left untouched. Today we bring Jaxon and Zane in as well, and he motions to the two of the coterie hounds. He says they'll be alongside the prince. Treat them as if they were the prince's own coterie for this meeting. Because of things that have gone on recently, we are, and I'm sure you've heard, we are endeavouring to put better protocols in place that will protect Elysium how it's meant to be. But with no further waiting, this evening's problem, what we have, my prince, is the problem of someone who is sired illegally in your city. And he steps back, and a couple of kindred guards that the sheriff constantly uses, brings forth a woman. She's quite rough looking. Her clothing is nothing to be too respectful. She doesn't look like a homeless person or a street person, but she's just casual as, but dirty. Her hair is braided into many braids, sort of brownish to blonde hair. She has quite tan skin, and the hair sort of hangs around her shoulders in these braids. And then behind her, with another couple of guards, is a young, looks to be a teen, maybe 16-year-old boy, and a slightly younger looking girl, maybe 14. Both of a similar tan color, but they don't look like this woman at all. They don't seem to be her family. The sheriff says, "This is Desiree Jensen, Clan Gangrel. She resides in Parkville. She has sired these two," and he puts his arm out across the children, "and these people are all bound and locked tight with chains and handcuffs. She sired them without coming to you for permission, Prince. Not only did she not come to you for permission, she did not seek any aid, and she has not been teaching them of the ways of the Camarilla or of any of our laws. The boy here is Donnie Lockett," and he sort of puts his arm towards him. "His parents have called the police, and the police are looking for him. Investigators are looking for him. He has been missing for a day or two now, and they are getting worried. He has been feeding under her supervision, but they have been leaving bodies in their wake. The girl is Julia Bryant. The same. Her family is out looking for her. They have private detectives on the matter. I leave it to you, my prince."
Desiree.
She drops her knees. Yes, my prince."
You dare break the masquerade? You dare break the third tradition, the prodigy? Thou shalt not only sire another with the permission of thine elder?
You know, Prince, that she's not part of the Camarilla. She hasn't come up on your list. It's possible she's an anarch. It hasn't been mentioned tonight, but this is something that you would have a fair good idea of. She says, "I miss my children, and since I was turned, I've had nothing to live for, or to unlive for. I haven't even been turned for that long, and it's hard without a family. And I beg of you, have mercy on me."
With that knowledge, I turn to the Gangrel Primogen, and I will say, have you ever seen this woman before?
The man steps forward. His name's Daniel Connor. He's quite buff, and he has a suit and tie on, but he is very biker looking. He has a tattoo up the side of his head. You know, he used to do a lot of underground fight clubs and stuff back when he was alive in the 1800s, late 1800s. He steps forward and he says, "I know not of this woman. Who is your sire?" And she's sort of kneeling down, looking up at you, Prince, and she says, I don't know. I was attacked about 12 months ago, and I've been trying to make it on my own since then." The sheriff whispers in your ear, "She does not know of her sire."
I call upon the Tremere Primogen. She claims she does not know her sire.
Bobby steps forward.
Can you do the ritual?
I can. It'll take a little bit of time. We can do this. Please,
do what you need to do to get what you need to start. Because if she does not know, does that mean we have another one loose in my city, siring without permission? Because I'm damn well sure that I have not given any permission in the last 12 months for the gangrel.
No, you're correct, sir. This is the Tremere, Primgen speaking. I don't think we've had any kindred come to ask for sire within the last 6 at least, if not more. This will take me about 15 minutes. Can I take the woman to another room?
Please, because I would like to talk to, make sure she is returned for the rest of proceedings. And with that, as the Tremere takes her away, I'll go over to the 2 children and I will, bend a knee and just looking around the room. And I speak to the young boy first, and I'm going, and I say to him, I'm sorry that you don't know what is going on. I'm sorry that you are now in a life that at the moment you don't understand. And then turns to the girl, and I'm also sorry that someone felt that they had the right to take what you knew and take that away from both of you.
The boy looks to you and he says, he bears fangs as he opens his mouth. He says, I'm just hungry. All the damn time. All the time hungry. I hate it.
Unfortunately, that is your life now. That you're always going to be hungry. You're always going to be wanting more. And you probably have known that something inside you talks to you, that it wants out. It wants to be released.
I like it. It feels good.
But it's not good. So, you see, I am what you would call the boss, if you will, of everyone here tonight. And turns to the little girl. And unfortunately, you've both have found yourselves in a situation that you don't understand. And it's my job to work out what is the best interest for both of you. And sometimes my decisions are not easy to make. They're difficult. They're not fair. Just like what is happening to you right now is unfair. But who we are, what we are, we live by rules. And clearly, you haven't been taught or shown any of those rules. So, you know, where you might have done something wrong and, you know, your mum or your dad has eventually found you know, you may have left a trail of clues for them to work it out. Well, see, you've been doing that as well, and of no fault of your own, because you have not been shown our ways. And just goes back to the boy, because obviously he seems more receptive than what the young girl is at the moment.
She just looks solemn and sad, and she stays very quiet. And like I said, she's only maybe 14 at best. She doesn't look like she has a clue of what's going on. She doesn't even look like she understands. If she could have been crying, and there is like almost small blood drops in the tear ducts of her eyes, if she could have been crying the whole time, she probably would have been. But she just looks completely confused, out of her depth. She has no idea what's going on. But she licks her lips quite frequently.
See, these little trails you have been leaving behind you can lead all of us here tonight. And we're only, what you see in front of you tonight is only a small handful. There's more of us. And what you're doing is breaking those rules. And those rules comes with heavy consequences, not only for those who break it, but for everybody else who abides by those rules.
The boy scoffs, says, punished in life, now punished in a death we didn't ask for. That's just typical, just like my mum, just like my dad. And he bares his teeth at you again.
And with that, I activate what is it? Dread gaze.
Sweet.
So you want to bare your fangs at me, and then do you want me to roll anything for this, or?
I would say, and I'm just looking up Dread Gaze now.
It's a rouse check. I have to roll charisma and presence.
Yep, so I'll get you to do that.
All right, so first of all, I will rouse check.
Make the rouse check. See what the beast says. Do you get any hunger?
The beast comes out a little bit more.
You feel that anger pang in you as you gain that little bit extra hunger, activating your blood for this ability. Well, you at hunger 2 now?
Hunger 2. Okay.
Roll your, what is it, charisma and presence, please.
Yep. So that's 4, and presence is 4. Uh, 4 successes.
Yeah, what do you say to him as you dread gaze him?
Well, my vampiric nature just comes out. So, you know, I bare my fangs and I am more intimidating than before. You know, I'm no longer the nice guy.
Yep.
And I go, you need to respect who I am if you want to continue living.
He instantly, as soon as your dread gaze is activated, he closes his mouth and the fangs pull back and he cowers back. He tries to step back, but because his feet are cuffed as well, he can't get very far. And you can see he's only young, lucky to be 16. He's horrified of what you've just shown him. He had no idea the vast power. And he's like, he doesn't say sorry or anything, he just closes his mouth and he's just wide-eyed.
And then I'll take a step back and I deactivate the ability. And I said, there are rules you need to follow. And I turn to the Gangrel Primogen again, and I say, this is unfortunate that we've got two very young fledglings. And I don't know, I step back from the children, but stand next to them. Or more like stand next to them, so I'm addressing the whole council.
Yes.
And I say, you know our laws, you know our traditions. And we know that breaking the third tradition is death to both Sai and the child. What I want to know, and I'll turn to the Gangrel Primogen again, is I think it's... What do you think about these two? Do you think we will be able to school them correctly? We'll be able to show them the ways? And if so, would there be someone of Clan Gangrel that we can entrust these two with?
The Daniel Connor, the Gangrel, looks to the other Primogen and he says, "One moment." And they have a quick discussion amongst themselves. And they look back to you and they say, the Gangrel, "My prince, we have 3 Gangrel brought to us tonight, 3 of which sounds like none of them have been sired correctly. The rules do state if someone wishes to take them under their wing, they can. However, we need to set an example, especially with everything that is going on, and their families will need some sort of closure. It is unfortunate that their young heirs should have to hear this, but we feel that this is not the path. We feel that the sheriff shall be put to the task of ending them if you are happy with that, my prince."
Then we will need to address the problem of those that are looking for these 2 children.
That can be fixed, the Gangrel Daniel says. I will sort that myself, sir.
Very well. If you are going to take this under your wing, then I'll leave that to you.
And right at that point, the Tremere comes back with Desiree and the 2 guards that are dragging her along. She looks very tired now, and the Tremere, Bobby, has a bowl of what looks to be blood in his hands. He says, "My prince, 2 things. Firstly, she tells the truth. She does not know her sire. Secondly, I am unable, via these magics, to put a finger exactly on who her sire may be. There's either some warding on the sire, or she's had no contact with the sire since." We could do, maybe, it may take some time and some hunting, but we could do a blood trace. But without something that the sire owns, we can't exactly find the spot. It will take a week or 2.
I then turn to Desiree and I say, "Where were you turned?"
She sort of looks up at you wearily, and you can see she's had her veins open and closed. They're still healing on her wrist, and she's tired. And she says, "I met
a man in a bar. He was in a bar in East Melbourne, I think, and we were out drinking. Yes, it was definitely East Melbourne, and he took me to a hotel for the night. I thought he was the one, you know. Thought he was the one. He had a beautiful bike, motorbike. He had some friends with bikes too, and then next thing, I woke up. It was evening again, but not the same evening, and I was this thing.
So, can you describe the man? Any distinguishing features about him? Any distinguishing features about his bike?
He had a.
Do you recall what bar?
The bar's name, I can't recall. It was definitely in East Melbourne though. I'm sure it was a biker bar because there were bikes everywhere. He had long, dark, dreaded hair. He was wearing a jacket. I don't remember his name. He said some things to me, and I just can't recall. But I feel like he had a motif of a sickle or something. Yeah, something like that. A scythe, maybe a skeleton. It's hard to remember. Are my children? And she looks to the two that she's side in the room. Can I keep them?
It has been the decision of the council that none of you will leave tonight. With that...
She sort of gasps, knowing what's coming next.
With that, he motions the two children to be put in front of her. And then he puts his hands both on the two children and he says, I'm sorry, but our laws are our laws. And this woman had no right to do what she did to both of you. But we have to abide by our laws. Takes his hand off the young boy, but leaves his hand on the younger girl because she seemed the one that has taken this the hardest. And it's just a reassuring hand on the shoulder, but also, you know, kind of, you know, just letting her know that it's kind of like, you know, I'm on your side, but on the same token, it's kind of like, you know, I've done everything that I could. And with that, he then takes his hand away and slowly starts to walk back to his chair, sits down, and says to Sheriff Marco, the children first.
The sheriff steps forward, looks at the boy, and he says, looks at Jaxon and Zane. And he says to the boy, I'm sorry it has come to this. I was in a position similar once. I was lucky to have someone save me. I will make it quick and painless. And right before your eyes, Sheriff Marco's arms bulk huge. They go sort of a dark green color. He splits out of his shirt, almost like the Hulk, but the arms join together with his body as they enlarge and his legs. And it all happens in a matter of seconds. And right before you, in the middle of the council room, is a snake, much like a python or an adder, something that very large, not a cobra, not with the big bulbous pieces on the side of its head, but definitely more of a constrictor style. And it just sinks two giant fangs right into the neck of the boy and just bites right through it. You watch his face. The boy's instantly dead. His neck's crushed, windpipe gone, which he wasn't breathing anyway, and the tail has just stung right through his heart area, down and gone. With that, the Gangrel council member says, "I apologize, I must stop. I can't let this young girl go. I will take her under my wing."
And I look at Marco and kind of give him just wait.
In front of you still is this giant snake. He's just laid the boy's body down on the ground. The body doesn't dissipate to ash or anything like that. It's much too young. It sort of just goes to more of a dead-looking state. Two of the guards cover it as the snake removes its tail and fangs from it, and they cover it up with almost like a body bag, but it's more of a sort of a plastic blanket type thing, and they just carry it out. They know their job. The council member says, I'm sorry, Prince. As a decision from all of us, I thought it was the right thing, but that poor boy, these children are too young. They don't know. I shall take the girl. Julia, was it?" And she nods. "I will take the girl. I will take her out of this room." And he looks for your approval.
She will be your responsibility. Anything that she does wrong is on your head. Is that the responsibility that you are prepared to accept, knowing full well that that could potentially be your final death?
I understand, Prince. We help put these rules in place, and I will make sure she gets the proper instruction.
And I look around the room just to gauge the reactions of the other Primogen at the council member requesting.
Some of them just hang their head. Others are nodding, thinking it's a good idea. I think it just took that young boy for them to see the young boy taken down for them to maybe have a second thought, But what's done is done at this point, and you can see that they, even though they are a little saddened, they're allowing this to happen if you do.
So with that, I will stand up and I will walk over to her. And I will say to her, this member of our society, we are called kindred. And if you heard the stories, I'm not gonna tell you any fairy tales. As the Prince of Melbourne, it is my duty to let you know that you are kindred, otherwise known as vampire.
Yes, sir.
This is why you are always hungry, because you want nothing but blood. There is something inside of you called the beast that wants to come out. It wants to control you.
Yes, sir, I hear it.
This council member, as you saw, unfortunately, what happened to your young friend over here, our rules are very clear and finite. We have what we call traditions. They are our rules. And if you break them, well, unfortunately, as with human society, you could go to jail, proverbially, or worse. What this means is this council member over here is vouching for you, and everything that you do between now and when it's time for you to go out on your own is on his head. He's going to teach you everything you need to know about kindred life and keeping the rules or what we call the Masquerade, in place. This is for our protection, to keep us, the kindred, still doing what we do, night in and night out.
Yes,
this
sir.
is a big responsibility for this person to vouch for you. And I know you're young. I know you're only new to all of this, and it's very scary. But know this. You won't get a second chance.
I'll obey, sir. And she's looking up at the giant snake.
From what we understand is that you are a member of a clan gangrel. I point to the Primogen and I said, Donnie over there, he is, I suppose, the boss of the gangrel in this city. And all of these other people in front of you today are bosses of their own respective clans. I am the prince of this city. I am the boss of the whole city of Melbourne. As you can see tonight, any rules that are broken, I am here to make a judgment.
Yes, sir. I will do what I'm told. And Daniel Connor stands forward and he's the gangrel Primogen. He says, my prince, I'd like to take her out for the next part.
Fine.
With that, you hear him sort of whisper to the girl he's going away. You have been let off lightly. You should count yourself lucky and respect that man. As he's sort of walking out, the gangrel woman is left there on her knees, just sort of rocking back and forth. The sheriff in large snake form just looking at you, awaiting your order.
Leslie stands back and just allows Marco to carry out the sentence.
Marco's snake form looks again at Jaxon and Zane, and this time the tail coils slowly right around the woman. It doesn't go straight for the heart or the neck. He slowly squeezes her and she cries out. Even some of the council have to turn away a little, and she just bones. First her legs crack, and you see bones split through the skin, and some of the vitae starting to leak. Crack with her hips as her body crushes, and she calls out, screaming. Crack again as her ribs go, and you can hear her. I'd like the three of you to make a willpower check for me, please. So that's just roll your willpower dice. Whatever you haven't spent, which I don't think any of you have spent any willpower throughout the game so far.
I have not spent any willpower as yet.
So just a standard check. So no blood dice for this one.
And I got a willpower in the chat before, so I get extra dice.
Excellent.
4.
Good.
3.
3. Zane.
2.
2. Zane, it's hardest for you seeing the vitae, and after losing a hand, having some damage there, you're feeling hungry. Not enough to make a rouse check though. You definitely held your will. Prince and Jaxon, no problem for you. You've seen a bit of this in your time, especially you, Prince. You've seen Marco deliver his judgments, his death penalties. And as he crushes her ribcage, he then leans over the big snake face in front of the woman's face and he says, "Won't ever see you again." And his mouth just lodges the jaw over her head, and just starts swallowing the head, and you hear crack as he closes the jaw and just breaks the vertebrae of the spine and the neck. And he sort of lays there on the ground as it drops down, devouring her in front of the whole Primogen Council. It takes a few moments before he releases the crushed organism beneath him and slowly turns back into what he was. The guards, the kindred guards, come in and covering the disgusting mess he's left behind and getting rid of it. He steadies himself. He actually moves, the sheriff moves from the room and goes and readies himself in another space where he has to replace his clothing. And with that, you guys are free to talk within the council chambers. The murmurs, waiting on the prince, of course, to release everyone, but the murmurs will start up again soon.
So before I release them, I will say, let's keep our eyes and ears open for more of these incidents. I want this guy found, and I want this guy brought to us, and we need to know if there's more unside kindred from this person. So whatever information that you can send out to those that you trust, particularly in East Melbourne, please. Due diligence. And if there's nothing more, as I turn to Marco, said if there's nothing more for tonight, we will adjourn. But please be aware that I will call upon you very soon, as we need to address with what's going on, and we may have someone to possibly share that information with you.
Good.
So please, when the call comes, make yourselves available, because this is super important.
He nods and bows, and all the Primogen Council give that sort of that nodded bow that they do.
And with that, I'll just go back and I'll stand by the door opposite William, and as everybody files out, I will obviously again thank them and bow their heads and things like of that nature.
There is a foyer area that they all exit into, and a lot of them mull around, as they do after most of the meetings, and they're chatting with one another. Jaxon and Zane, this will give you a chance to meet some of the council if you wish, or talk to the
Yeah,
council.
actually, I will take it upon myself to motion Jaxon and Zane over, and I will go to each of the Primogens and will formally introduce Zane and Jaxon to each of the Primogen and vice versa.
Okay, so Jaxon and Zane, the prince introduces you to first the Bruja Primogen, an older woman. She looks to be, it's hard to say, but she'd be roughly 70s, maybe older. She's introduced to you as the Bruja Primogen, Esther Abraham. He then introduces you to William Bland, another older looking man, grey in hair, almost balding, not quite balding, but almost. He's the Ventru Primogen. Thirdly, one you've met tonight already, or seen it talk at least. He's come back after leaving the young girl with one of his own, Daniel Connor, the Gangrel Primogen. The next one is Mary Bryant, the Malkavian Primogen. And once again, a lot of these Primogens are not, normally you've heard of the council being older vampires, but they are very much older in the way of age as well. Any knowledge you may have, guys, and I'll probably get you to roll this, Jaxon and Zane. Give me an intelligence politics roll, an odd roll.
Well, it's not going to be very good for me. No knowledge of politics.
So you'll just be rolling straight intelligence.
1.
1. Zane.
And it was a blank on the blood die too, so whether that makes any difference.
That's fine.
So I need to put a blood die with it?
Oh, sorry. Did you say a blank?
Blank on the
Jaxon?
blood die, yeah.
Yeah. Pulling up some mental images and stuff, you feel like this evening has been a drain, and you just get that one step hungrier. What's your hunger at?
That'll bring it up to 2.
2. It's not too bad. But the creature within you, you can hear just at the back edge of the brain there. So hungry. Did you see what the sheriff did? He got a free feed. Zane, what did you get?
So do I replace one of them with a blood die?
With a blood die, correct.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever your hunger's at is what blood die you replace it with.
Yeah, so if you're hunger 2, you use 2.
I believe. No, I fixed that. No, I'm good. Awesome. So I did get the ugly face on the blood die, but I got 2 successes.
Okay. The ugly face on the blood die is fine. You succeeded, but 2 successes is what you needed. So so if you pass the check, you don't fail. You don't get that fail. So you, Zane, would recall something that in your past, probably heard about it in a meeting previous. Back in the day when the kindred were turning and other kindred, they wanted people of political nature. They wanted, the Camarilla especially, want people to be able to run the show. So when they were making other kindred, they were turning older vampires deliberately. Anyone who had something to do with ruling people, anyone who had something to do with politics. It's up to you whether you relay this to Jaxon or not. But once again, like I say, Mary Bryant, the Malkavian, another older-looking vampire.
I'm just looking in awe at Mary Bryant.
And you would know her too, being the Primogen head of the Malkavians. You would have met her in the past. Both of you having met probably the Primogens of each. Anne Dawley is the Nosferatu Primogen. You don't see a lot of Nosferatu around. Well, lately you've seen a couple, but you don't see a lot around normally. And she's middle-aged, sort of somewhere in the 50s. Very, very flaky looking skin, pale, and as pale can be. One eye is very, almost like it's melting out of its socket. She is not nice to look at, as you know, Nosferatu aren't. And then you have Bill Buckley, the La Sombra, currently a new clan to the Camarilla, and he is very, very tall and very, very broad-shouldered. He stands one of the tallest people in the room at 6'6". After him is Vincent James, the Toreador, probably the smartest dressed man in the room, even smarter than if Nathan was there. He doesn't dress as old school as maybe some of the gangster type, but he's very tidy in his suit and his nice rose flower tucked into his suit collar. The next one is Nabil Kashif, very Arabic Egyptian looking, of the Banu Hakim. And he nods to you as you guys are introduced to him. And that is all of the council here tonight.
What was the Gangrel one again? Sorry?
The Gangrel one is Daniel Connor.
Jaxon would definitely greet them all respectfully, handshakes, and probably a slight nod of the head. Probably more of a lingering handshake with and a firmer handshake with the Bruja Primogen, out of sheer respect for clan leadership.
Excellent, yeah, and she reciprocates.
I'll be just bowing as my handshaking hand is not there.
Zane, when you get to Mary Bryant, the Malkavian Primogen, she says to you, Zane, and how are things these days? And then her other voice, yes, how are things, Zane?
Yeah, they're good. Just don't piss the prince off. That's bad.
You'd think in the time you've been around you would know. Yes, he should know. Yes, he should know.
But no, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we are doing well.
Okay.
Carry on. And she sort of waves you away. Hey, you guys have freedom of reign to do what you would like at this point.
Roughly how much time has passed?
You would be looking at about coming up probably midnight. Yeah, about midnight by about now.
Okay.
Yeah, Jaxon would have spent most of this time in this particular room and area, taking note of what the ceilings were made of, what the walls were made of, entrances, exits. Would have stopped and definitely took notice of Marco changing shape, something he didn't know about Marco.
Nope.
And so that would definitely have sparked a bit of interest in Jaxon, maybe a later time, but he definitely would have just been taking note of any possible lapses in this particular area that could be exploited by somebody.
Okay. Duly noted. The lounge room is one of the spaces that they've asked for nothing to be in because that is their council chambers. But on the outside of the room, you note that there's no cameras at all, not even old school cameras outside the lounge room. The Keeper of Elysium did show you wards in the area, so there are wards there. One
more just structure, just where it is within the building plans, how far below the ground.
So yeah, it's one level below ground, roughly central of the building, of the main building. During this time, one of Prince Taylor's personal coterie comes to you, the older man, George, and he first comes to you, Zane, and says, your computer thing makes some humming noises and stuff out in the main room. I just wondered if you wanted to know. Jaxon, your phone has been going off as well, just so you know.
Of course. I'll just sort of get close to Zane and sort of lean into him and said, want to get out of here? Not really.
So much want to get out of here.
Not really my people here.
And as you guys are saying that, the man goes up to the prince and says, Prince, Sarah has a message.
Oh? What does she have to say?
She says, only to tell you, not the sheriff, not Jaxon nor Zane. Shall we speak in private?
I excuse myself from whichever primogen that I am currently with, and I turn to Jaxon and Zane, and I say, excuse me a moment, and I will go with George to whether we need to go out of the room. He wants out of the room, or
yeah, even you could probably just back into the council chambers instead of being in the foyer space if you'd like.
Did it feel like did he wanted us to wait for him to come back?
Prince, would you have given that feeling?
No. Okay. I'll say you're free to do what you will. I will say to Jaxon, I would like to speak with you in private at some point before the night's done, please.
Of course. I probably would let him know that Zane and I are going to head back out and continue their assessment. We'll be up in the ballroom.
Please.
Let's go.
Then I'll grab Zane and just kind of usher him out.
Actually, I will take George to my personal chamber.
Sweet, no worries. Yeah, probably as safe a place as any, if not more so. It's not a long message that George gives you. It's just he was instructed by Sarah Barnett himself that the message was to come to you and you alone. He says, Sarah says, sir, that she's investigating the contact who gave her the information on Billy and Jenny. She doesn't want to upset the situation or cross over investigations. So she thought it was a good idea to let you know, but she doesn't trust the coterie, and she's mad at the sheriff for not letting her question Jenny. So she told me to pass the information to you. It's up to you if you tell them. However, if they're going to start doing an investigation, Sarah and them might cross paths again. After the last time, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Just for clarification, are you speaking about my coterie, or are you talking about the hounds?
The other hounds. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we know Sarah is Sarah. She's going to get upset when she doesn't get her way.
Yes, sir. She pretty much just wanted us to tell you, and you could decide if you gave the information to the coterie of hounds.
Very well. Did she indicate she wanted to speak with me?
Not at this point, but she did indicate she would like a return message at some stage. So if you wish to speak with her, sir, that is totally up to you. Sheriff Marco did say he was going to text or call her later on this evening anyway, but he has no information of this message as per her instruction.
Okay. Thank you, George. If that's all.
That is all, sir.
All right.
And with that, we'll go back out to Jaxon and Zane. Prince Taylor, we probably won't see you for a little bit longer till close to the end of the night, if that's cool.
All right. Well, I just want to just make a note that at some point during the night there is something that I would like to do.
Yes, yeah, that's fine. I mean later on in the evening.
Yep.
That's all. Cool. Good. Jaxon and Zane.
Okay, so once back out in the ballroom, I'll definitely check my phone to see what messages I have received.
Right, your phone. The first message that came through is a message from Echo. It's a picture of a small plastic device, and then the text that comes with it says, "Found an earpiece on Jenny." And you can see the text is linked to Zane as well. Right, pretty much only a minute or so after that text, you've got a text from Aaron. Similar, it's a couple of pictures of some weapons, a gun and a knife, and the flak jacket that Jenny was wearing. And it says, "It looks like you've missed something else, something along the lines of great checking."
Message that firstly Aaron would receive back would be, "I didn't miss anything, far too much for Harry to worry about any of that sort of thing, and she was in no condition to use them anyway." The text back to Echo would have been simply, "Haven shielded against RF signals, should be okay."
Okay. Zane, your computer, they said, was making noises. You get out there and it's just doing its normal loading thing, but your phone too has also got a message on it, a couple of messages. The same messages that Jaxon just got in Link, as well as, at this point, sorry, that's all the messages you have. Reading too far ahead.
So, where do you want to start, Aaron? Oh, Aaron.
Who?
Oh, Jaxon. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Have you made a start on the... So you've got the map, right? You got the map for all the cameras. You know where you're going to put them, where they need to be.
I know where I'd like to put them, but I'm not allowed.
Yeah. Put that aside and worry about where we're allowed to put them. As long as you've got everything listed, we can start this work tomorrow night. Well, some of it we can probably start during the day with the ghouls, but the bulk part would be tomorrow night, at the very least.
I still think they need something to identify.
Identify, well, facial recognition?
that too, but with all the people that can change shape and all that, does it really matter?
There's not much we can do about that, but it's more about making sure that whoever is here is safe and unwanteds can't get in easily.
Like, I watched this movie a couple of years back that had markings on wrists or hidden markings.
What, you want to mark all kindred?
Why not? It's safe, I think.
Have you ever heard of the Holocaust?
Holocaust? What Holocaust?
World War One, World War Two, the Jew. Surely you've heard of the Holocaust.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that. I don't know. Oh, hang on.
How old
Yeah,
are you?
probably.
I'm sure you're aware of it. I mean, you spend enough time on the internet, right?
I look for interesting stuff, not boring stuff.
Let's just say no.
Okay.
Kindred registration is not something I think even the Prince would be down for somehow. Well, we'll never know actually. Possible. No, let's not get off. Let's get off that subject. But no, what we need to focus on is getting exterior camera work up, so we can start working on some of these booby traps. I mean, that's more my department than yours. But like I said, we need that backdoor built in so that you can gain access when we need to.
I can definitely do that. That's not a problem.
I got a pretty good memory when it comes
It'll
to
take me
warding.
It'll take me a little bit longer though.
It's fine.
But it'll be like,
As long as no one else can trace it. This is the key. Make sure no one else knows that you're there, and that when you are there, that they cannot trace you there.
that I can do that. Not a problem. Maybe. Yeah, I can do that.
And did I hear you mumbling about like camera? Like you can take photos, right?
Where'd I put them? Where'd I put them? Yep, these.
Right, come with me, and I'll lead them over to where the blueprints of the building are. Is there anyone else in the room with us at the moment besides just our guys?
No, it seems to be just your guys.
Okay.
The prince has retreated to his chamber. Marco's gone to clean up because he was covered in vitae. And the rest of the Primogen Council they haven't come through this way at all, so they've obviously either gone out through another way or stayed in the area. So it's just you and your people with Zane.
Okay, so I'd say to Zane, get a few shots of the important stuff here. Make it quick. Don't make it too obvious. And send them to my email.
Is your email secure?
Zane. Yes, it is.
I'm just checking.
Have you been able to get into my camera system?
Haven't tried.
Maybe you should one day. See what happens. Actually, no, maybe you shouldn't. If you value your hardware and your software, probably not a good idea.
I can set up a dummy system. That's not a problem.
Maybe you should one day.
Dummy
It's interesting.
Dummy system.
Yeah, we know you're a dummy, right? Just take the photos.
Okay, take the photos.
Look, I apologize. I didn't mean to call you a dummy. It's just me. I get frustrated. Just please. This is important.
You get frustrated with people smarter than you. I get that.
I'll let that one go. Next time it might cost you the other hand. Just so you know.
At least let me grow the other one back first.
Where's the fun in that?
I suppose I can use my nose, my feet. Yeah, that'll work.
As you guys are talking, the sheriff comes out from the back way through where you've come from. He's changed clothes. Looks like he's put some water through his hair, washed his face, and he's just sort of buttoning up his suit jacket as he comes through. His sort of curly dark hair slicked with water or oil, and like I say, he's sort of got that Jim Morrison sort of look about him with his hair and that. And he rolls forward, he comes up to you guys and he goes, "Right, quick question, Jaxon."
You missed the spot.
Oh, Thank you. The haven where your cells are.
Yeah. My haven.
Yes, your haven. Am I able to get, once your coterie is finished with Jenny tonight, I need to get Sarah in there or get Jenny out. Sarah wishes to speak with Jenny as well, and she is none too pleased with the fact that I wasn't allowing her to question Jenny herself. So if it's good with you...
There's no way in hell she's setting foot in my haven, I'm telling you that.
We can bring Jenny from there to here once you set up here then?
I can get her here.
Excellent.
Well, I mean, you've got one of the prince's guys there. I'm sure we can arrange it.
Should be good. We'll probably leave her in your haven for now and just wait till you guys have set this up. Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't want... If Sarah's going to have to question her here, then we don't want to... We need this place so it's uncompromised. We need you and Zane to...
It's going to take a couple of days to get this ready.
So I can text Sarah and tell her in a couple of days she'll have her questions. Then that'll hopefully keep her from yelling at me down the phone.
From what I know of Sarah, that's not going to stop her from yelling at you. But it may minimize it.
She's lucky. She's lucky she knows the prince so well. I like her, don't get me wrong. She's
I really don't.
full of fire, but...
She scares me.
She gets things done.
Everybody scares you, Zane. But no, if we had known about her investigation, possibly, that it had coincided with ours, things may have been different. But...
Well, we don't keep tabs on every job she's doing all the time. I mean, like your security people would be doing jobs under you. You'd be able to look them up, but don't keep tabs on them, I imagine.
I know where all of my men are all of the time.
So you run every job yourself?
More or less.
It would be very hard for the prince to know what every kindred is doing at all times, as you can understand, I suppose.
There is a lot more to deal with, I would understand that. But that's what he had you for.
Correct, and it is not easy to do. However, didn't expect you guys to cross paths just yet. Nonetheless, what's happened has happened.
It is. I mean, we will eventually get past it, but for now, my trust in Sarah is still shaky at best.
That's fair. No one expects you to trust her. We just expect the jobs to get done. And I make no apologies. She does her job, you do yours. It's happened. It's crossed over.
Speaking of doing my job...
does this mean I'm a double agent? Just check.
Zane, shut up. Please. Focus on what you're doing. Please, don't ask it.
Because I'm working for the coterie, the hounds. I'm working for Sarah as well. And they're double agent.
Sarah works for the Camarilla and the hounds work for the Camarilla. Zane, you put two and two together, you're all working for the same people.
Oh.
So
okay.
If you work for Sarah, why didn't you know where she was? We're all throwing questions out here. You should have known that she would have had a meeting if you were working for her, is that?
I thought the same thing.
No. She just tells me what to do and I jump.
Fair enough. Listen, it's not a blame game at this point. We just want to get things solved. I'm going to bring the prince back through shortly.
Right. The attack earlier this evening, or last night, whatever it was, the second attack. Yes, I will need to see that whole area as well. Get my guys
the car park area?
Yeah, I need the guys to go over it. Maybe they will find something that your guys missed.
No problem. It's not a hassle at all. It's been slightly cleaned up. There's still scorch marks on the ground, but yes, you can go and check the cars.
We're looking for all sorts of different things, I think. Even
the cars have been put into the lot, so you can see the burned out vehicles.
Okay. Zane, any camera footage too from the area get a hold of? Good.
Okay, yeah. I'll get onto it.
You all right? Furballs? Fine?
Yep, furball. Yep.
Okay.
So Sheriff agrees that you can get all that footage, and Zane knows how to do it. He's done it once before from the videotapes. Marco comes to you, Prince. He says, looks like Jaxon and Zane are setting up with their men quite well. They're getting things done quickly. A night or two, I'd say. I wanted to talk to you quickly about... we made a decision to keep a couple of them around at any time. Once they get the cameras in place and their men in place, we may be able to rely on the men and allow them to do their investigation further. Would you agree?
Well, at this stage, we're no closer to finding out
Correct.
who's doing this. We need those answers. So, yes, they should be retasked back on their original request.
Good.
Unless they have anything specific they need to stay back at Elysium for to oversee anything else regarding the new setups.
Yes. So I mentioned the same thing to them. If they need to stick around for the 2 days that it takes to set this up, that's fine. I will talk to Jaxon about maybe keeping more of his men around you and your coterie just for the time being until we're 100% things have settled down. If they ever settle down.
Agreed. What do you think if once they've given us sufficient information, we give them their own domain?
As a reward, sir?
Well, I mean, if it leads to what I think it's going to lead to, I mean...
Well,
there could be something to say thank you. Not as a reward, but as a thank you.
We have got the Sabat areas, and now Carlton North, and South Yarra. If we could exterminate the Sabat threat, then yes, we could easily give them an area.
Okay.
Unless you had something specific in mind, my prince.
No. But if we can exterminate the Sabat, or at least remove them from their holdings, then yes, I would say let's find them a suitable domain for them to oversee. They're becoming useful, don't you think?
Yes, I do. It's a good choice, my prince.
And we need to keep them around if they continue to prove themselves.
Have you mentioned this to them at all yet? Is this the first?
No, this is why I'm talking to you about it now.
I think it's a good idea.
After the brief meeting that we had with them back at Jackson's Haven, and what they've been able to do in such a short amount of time, considering the chaotic nature of what is going on, I would say that they've done a really good job. But we need more before we give them more. Dangle the carrot in front of them, if you will.
Well, shall we go and see them now, or is there anything you'd like to catch up with them before they leave?
Invite them here.
Bring them in here. I shall do so, sir. And Sheriff comes out. Back to you, Jaxon and Zane. He says, well, the Prince would like to catch up with you before you carry on to whatever it is that you're going to do with the last of your night.
Of course.
I'm not going to lose another hand, am I?
Not if you're respectful and do less talking, Zane. If your talking's important, of course, bring something forward, but you've seen the Prince in action. He's merciful and kind when he needs to be, and he is completely the opposite when he needs to be, as am I.
Yeah, just remember, Zane. Mouth closed, This you absolutely have to.
Okay.
Yes, freedom of speech is fine as long as the freedom of speech doesn't end up with you losing a hand. Again.
So Zane has just closed his mouth and just not moving it.
And you guys head into the prince's private office with Marco.
Jaxon would have retrieved his weapons and probably changed back to his more comfortable attire by this point as well.
Absolutely fine. As you're walking, Zane, into the office, you receive a text. Two texts, in fact. Echo texts you and says, I can't find my paperwork. Here it is. Tell Sarah her loved ones are in danger. If at all possible, can you let her know as soon as you can? And then a second text comes through just as you enter the office. You've already got the phone open in your hand, and knowing that the prince probably won't like the phone in your hand, you take it before you walk through the door. I'm not that cruel. The last text she sends you is, can you look up Gerald Stone? And those are the two texts you get just before you walk into the prince's office.
Gentlemen, please take a seat.
Taylor.
Do you require anything? Are you hungry, maybe?
I'll grab something a little later. Fine for now. As Jackson's eye probably twitches a little bit.
We can provide if you need.
I like the thrill of the hunt. Little fear.
We have something in common there, my friend.
Little fear goes a long way.
What about you, Zane? Are you hungry?
Well, being how the other two spoke to him, he's just mouth shut, eyes darting left and right.
You may answer the question, Zane.
Jaxon will probably give him a nudge.
Very well.
I think he's he took an instruction given a little too literally, I think.
I'll invite you both to sit down.
The sheriff actually puts his hand on Zane's shoulder as you invite him to sit down, and he whispers in his ear, when the prince says speak, that is when you can speak. Okay, little brain power. You should have enough considering what your job is. And he sort of pushes you down into your chair.
First of all, I want to thank you for taking your time out of the current investigation that we have tasked you to look into securing the Elysium. As I said, Marco and I have talked, and obviously Mr. Spencer, with your business, it seemed to be the most logical choice for someone to come in and do what was needed. And of course, your reputation precedes you, Zane, regarding, well, what you do.
Oh yeah, that. Speaking of that, never mind.
Yes. No. Speaking of what?
What do you think about tagging systems?
Jaxon audibly sighs.
Okay, so the prince just kind of, you're gonna have to explain to me, what is a tagging system?
Well, if I remember correctly, I did say something, how do you feel about a tattoo? Then tattoos obviously don't stay, so an ID system
For what?
For
purpose?
kindred. For kindred to identify an inner circle type thing.
So we want to. I'm still not understanding. There's like, is he talking like we're trying to trace or track?
Yeah.
That too.
You would be familiar with the Holocaust and
Yes.
the marking of the Jews. I think he's going down that road, which did say to him was not a good idea.
The sheriff sort of laughs and goes, hey, look, computers and cameras is one thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they get hacked, we've especially got them not in the wrong places. If someone hacks...
It's not a computer system. All it is just a thing that someone carries on them or something like that to bypass some security. And like there's one unique to each.
The problem is if we can trace each other, it's going to be very easy for someone like the SI, the Second Inquisition, to trace us, or other, I mean, anarchs could start tracing us, or we could trace them. I mean, it can go back and forth. The wrong people get that.
I'll look into it. Non-electronic.
I'll tell you what. You focus on what we've tasked you. If you have spare time, then by all means, have a look. And if you come up with a proposal that seems workable, then I might be able to spare some of my time to listen. But you've got a lot of work on your hands. You've got the security, you've still got your investigation. So that is important.
So speaking of security, I've done my preliminary run through, and in the lower levels, the entrances with the addition to extra warding and addition of my own special security devices in conjunction with what you already have. Anyone who has no idea of what they're getting into never get through those tunnels. And I mean never. They will perish in tunnels, without a doubt. Kindred and human.
Good.
With obviously the right knowledge, access will be a little slower, but doable. And I'll make sure that William has that knowledge.
Yes. Work with William. Obviously, as the keeper of Elysium, that's just one of his roles here.
Seemed relatively to work with. Very precise, which I appreciate.
He can be.
Can I meet him?
I'm sure you will eventually, Zane.
Okay.
As far as the cameras, that's definitely Zane's forte. But we're pretty certain that we've established how many and where, what type, and all closed circuit. So
just a curiosity question.
No outside access.
Curiosity question.
Of course.
Can a lot of this be put out of sight?
Absolutely.
As in,
100%.
we want the kindred to know that they are safe, but obviously we don't want to advertise
We can utilize
it as well.
existing housings, what's existing there, and we can hide others easily enough.
Try and keep as much of this out of sight.
Done.
I think that would be more pertinent. I believe that the less of the kindred society know that these measures are being put in place, the better.
Oh, without a doubt. As I said, if we use the existing housings, people will assume that whatever's been there for as long as it's been there is still there. Nothing has been done to it.
Excellent.
And any additions will be made in stealth, with stealth in mind.
Okay.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Can we change our eyes?
I mean, sort of pulls out a little pen knife, and flips it around in his fingers. I'm sure I can arrange that for you.
No, I don't mean that. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Jaxon audibly sniggers at that because he was thinking the exact same thing.
And by this stage, you guys are pushing, back and forth with your teams, talking and stuff, pushing the early hours of morning now, sort of 3, 4 a.m. Just so you know, we're wrapping up in a few minutes, so anything else you guys need to cover?
Yeah, so since it's getting that late, I'm just listening to Jaxon and Zane, and what I want to do is kind of like sit back and just close my eyes for a moment, and I want to share the senses to tap into the blood that was left with the coterie for Jenny.
Yes. So you sharing the senses with Zane and Jaxon as well, or just?
No, it's only me. Only I can do it. Yeah, there is a Tremere ritual that will allow them to see what I see.
All right, you're just doing it for you. Okay,
I'm just doing it for myself. Yep.
So I'll get you to make that rouse check, please.
That is a pass.
Nice. The creature within you, the beast inside, is happy for them now.
I lean into Jaxon. Has he gone to sleep?
Jaxon just will elbow Zane in the ribs hard.
Yeah, and the sheriff just looks over to you as well, like, what do you say? Let him concentrate. Prince...
Probably hard enough, it probably might even crack a rib. It would have been hard.
Are you trying to hurt him?
Not really, but it definitely would have been hard enough if he was a human, if he was a human, it would have shattered probably 2 or 3 ribs.
Zane is in it, and you take that as a bit of pain, a bit of recognition to maybe look on. But at this point, Prince, can you roll resolve and Auspex for me, please?
Yes. Where's my sheet? So resolve and Auspex. Okay. That is, and that's with my 2 hunger die as well. Oh, critical success. 6 successes, including a critical success.
Nice. That is good successes. You focus on your blood. You're trying to focus on the vial that was to be put to Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
You focus on the blood, and the more you focus, you feel the blood's contained. The blood's not in a system of any vein or any heart. The blood is still in its cool plastic case. The blood has not been administered.
And I open my eyes after that, And I kind of give Marco kind of a sign that that something's wrong, but continues listening to Jaxon and Zane, and at this point he was asked both of them, well, since we're talking openly, do you have any grievances so far?
Grievances, my prince? In what sense?
Well, I mean, you're curious to know how I can help you guys better. And if there's things that are making your life, making your task unpleasant, that I need to be aware of to then allow you to continue on with better ways, then feel free to let me know.
I wouldn't call grievances. I mean,
have you had any difficulties then?
Apart from the debacle at the birth, I mean, not really.
Keep talking, team. I'll be right back.
Personally, I mean, this is for me, not for the group. Free reign to hunt and kill all Garou would be a start. I enjoy a good hunt, but
yeah, but
that would be open warfare. Gets messy.
Won't make things very easy for you.
I wouldn't expect it to be easy. That would be no fun.
One of them can take out a whole group of us very easily.
Not unless they know where I am. I don't know if you know much about what I did before.
I know enough.
Jenny certainly found out.
The city, of course. I like to know who's in my city, and I like to know a little bit about them. But if there's anything you would like to share?
Well, let's just say Billy's skill is renowned.
Yes.
But he's not the best. Far from it.
Are you saying that you're better?
We would be pretty close. I would say that I've probably, in my time, made more.
So the same question that I asked Marco. The same question I asked Marco when we were back at your haven, where the information that the 2 shots from Miss Lawson missed for someone of her skill.
He should not have missed.
So what does that tell you?
He missed intentionally. That's what that tells me.
Did she miss intentionally? Or is it possible that the tool she's been given is...
It wasn't a regular firearm, that much we know now. So that would have made the shot probably a little more difficult. But I don't believe she I don't believe she would not have practiced with that particular weapon. And at the range that she was at, may not have hit a headshot or even a torso shot, but she would have hit something. To miss twice tells me that something else is going on.
I agree. I mean,
whether it was a warning shot,
I may not be in that particular line of work, but I know if you miss twice, there's something wrong.
Once is a mistake, twice is on purpose.
Can I just put something out there? Just little. What if she wanted to be captured?
That is my concern, Zane. From the text that I received from Echo earlier, they found her with an earpiece.
Yeah, I got that too. Yep.
So chances are that she was being traced. That tracker would have gone dead the moment they entered into my tunnels, but it still would have given them a location. I trust that my Haven is not I trust that my Haven security will hold up. As the trail goes dead in a building, not where my business is. But if indeed the SI is involved, which is what we suspect, then we are looking at a bigger problem.
As you guys are talking, one of the prince's coterie knocks, enters a room, and actually comes over to the sheriff first and says, the car to Sarah's safe haven for the second night is ready, sir. And then he goes over to the prince and whispers the same thing into your ear, just letting you know that the car's ready, as you've been staying the previous night at Sarah's haven and this night as well, until the Elysium is completely safe. And the sheriff looks to Jaxon and Zane and says, Jaxon, can I take a few of your men with us on this trip?
Definitely. I'll take Joe, Eric, and get them to choose the others.
I'll get them to get the others to take a couple of separate vehicles. We're going with less of our usual kind of vehicle tonight to try and throw the hordes off. We're going to take a different exit too, my prince.
You wouldn't mind, if it pleases the prince, I would like to escort you out as well.
And what are you going to do, Zane?
I can get him taken back to my haven to join the others.
I've got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah,
You go do that stuff. If you want to come, Jaxon, by all means.
Just to escort you out. Once you're out safely, then I'm more than happy to return to my own haven. After what happened the last time I tried to leave, an extra body probably wouldn't hurt.
Good choice.
Very well.
The sheriff agrees. Good choice. And you all head through some of the earlier spaces and tunnels you went through.
I would have grabbed a long rifle, assault rifle.
This gives me the opportunity as we walk. Now it's you and I, Jaxon. I got a question for you.
Of course, ask away.
And all the rest of the sheriff and the other men are quite a ways back behind you, as it's obvious the sheriff knows you want to talk to him.
I understand, being the same clan, that you are under a bit of pressure because you're Bruja. Whether you feel we are using you as an example, rest assured that is not the case. We just know that what you do, you're the right man to lead from the front. Now, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
I'm happy to do my part.
But my question to you, in the short time that you've been with the rest of your coterie, because they are your coterie now, what is your initial assessment of them? What are your thoughts? Do you trust them? Do you have any
be completely
unsurities about any of them?
I don't trust anyone. But that is a personality trait.
It's very wise to do that. But you are working as a team.
And that is
also
also
coterie, you need to make sure that you have everyone's back. They are essentially, believe it or not, whether you like it or not, they're your family now.
And as it is with my former unit and my business, my employees, my colleagues, they have my utmost loyalty, regardless. Until, of course, they prove otherwise. Then I'll put them down just like I would an SI agent or anyone else.
So, at this stage, while you may not trust everybody, do you believe they have the right intentions to get the job done? Do you believe they will get the job done?
At this point, Echo's more capable, I think, anyone gives her credit for. I've seen some interesting behavior from a writer, no less.
I mean, she's
far deeper. She's far deeper than just a writer.
Interested. What do you mean by that?
She's a woman of action, which is something I respect.
I mean, most Toreador are.
Which is handy to have in this particular situation. You know how I feel about Zane. I tolerate him barely.
I understand the frustration of dealing with the Malkavians. But as I said to you back at your haven, sometimes their moments of madness are actually the clarity that you need.
And I've seen that in young Pip. I am a little concerned of his newness, but he seems to be trying and fitting in somewhat.
How is he fitting in? Like, seems to have proved useful.
His visions have given information we would never have had otherwise. Again, Malkavian, odd to say the least, but I think with guidance and proper coaching, he will be a valuable member of the coterie, without a doubt. My biggest concern is not Pip, and I'm sure you would even possibly agree that while muscle is always needed in these particular situations, muscle without loyalty, outside of lining one's pocket, dangerous, to say the least.
How do you think I got to where I am?
I trust that he'll do what he says he'll do as long as he's being paid. Short of that.
As you're talking, you guys exit the back area door, so you carry your conversation, but you can see the cars and all your extra men. There's also one of the Tremere, not the Primogen, but one of his coterie, I guess you could say, out in there doing some blood ritual. Prince, which you would recognise as he's masking the area from anything else that you need, anything that might be looking on. They're really going hardcore to protect you on your way to the vehicle as you speak. Carry on, sorry to interrupt.
I mean, I've worked with him before, a number of occasions, and I've always paid him well. He's always done exactly what he said he would do.
The question will be is who can offer him the bigger carrot.
That's my concern.
One of the guards opens the door for you, Prince, and a couple of the other cars are opened for the coterie that's behind the sheriff. The sheriff is coming with you to Sarah's place as well. He steps into a second vehicle, and the coterie steps into a third. You're separated all up between 3 or 4 different vehicles. Jaxon, you're right there as he's getting into the car.
Yeah, I'd be even having the conversation, my eyes would be darting everywhere. The rifle's slung, but at the ready as well.
Yep. I would have, as we would have gone out, I would have activated Seen the Unseen too.
against the unseen. Yeah, and you would know that there are a few other kindred out there as well as Jackson's men. Some of them kindred too with the same sense. I won't make you roll for it. You know that there's nothing there with sense the unseen activated. You don't see anything. It is good and clear.
Well, before I get into the car, I'll wait till everybody else is in, and then I say to Jackson, I appreciate the forthright and the insight to everything that is going on. My question to you is if the time comes and you need something from me, what would you need?
Would say just the freedom to do what I need to do.
Noted. He obviously out his hand to shake.
Jackson would take it and firm grip.
Definitely firm grip from Leslie as well. And I just say, keep up the good work. It's only been a couple of nights, and what you guys have been able to do, I'm impressed. You're rough around the edges, but that just comes the nature of the territory with new people.
I'm sure things will work out the way they're supposed to.
The sooner we find out, the better for everybody in Melbourne.
Indeed.
And with that, Prince turns around and hops into the car and just closes the door.
And
Jackson, you'll see the vehicles start to
back away to the doorway or whatever area they're at, back into the shadows.
And with that, team, we will call that the end of our game. However, right as the cars are driving off, and Jackson, you're walking back into the building, one of the men at your haven gives you a phone call.
Yeah.
You answer. Is very, very muffled. You can barely make out his voice. It sounds like he's just talking through a washing pile on the couch and his phone's behind the couch or something. It's very hard to hear. And he sort of says, something's going on. There's crackling, there's static. We spotted on the cameras. It's odd. Just 5 a.m. And you're just getting more static. A lot of very, very muffled voice. You kind of make out maybe he's saying something about Mr. Tomic, Miss Monroe, and Pip leaving, Nathan leaving, but then it's hard to hear. There's more static again.
Okay.
And then it comes clear, and he says, "It's an explosion in Jenny's cell. She's charred and burned. I think it's," and it buzzes out again.
I'd just hang up the call and go straight to the app to check cameras around the building.
You go to the app for the cameras. Open the cameras you've seen before around outside the building.
6 cameras on the exterior.
Yep. You don't see much on the exterior. At this point,
So the exterior looks like it's intact.
Looks like it's clear. There's no smoke billowing from the exterior or anything like that.
So nothing. Doesn't look like anything's attacked from the. There's been no attack from the exterior of the building at all. That it looks like
nothing obvious. Nothing obvious through the camera view.
I'll go to the interior cameras.
Okay, the room where Nathan and the coterie of hounds were sitting, the main sort of lounge room area. Everything's shadowy and dark. The cameras are still quite staticky, shadowy and very, very dark.
I'll switch to infrared.
Infrared.
That's basically night vision.
Everything. So in night vision, normally you'd see heaters of red, orange, yellow.
Oh, that's IR. This is just straight night vision. So just
just straight night vision. Okay. Yeah. So you're getting nothing on night vision but dark shadows. Everything's shadowed and dark.
Okay. So how long did we say it would take to get from Elysium to my haven? About an hour?
About an hour, yep.
Jaxon would definitely do that.
And you have about an hour till sunup, so you're making it.
I'd be doing it at pace in my car, so my car's definitely fast enough.
And we'll rejoin.
And very loud.
Will rejoin us next Sunday. We'll have everyone back. Maybe, unfortunately, Prince, we may not need you next game. Might be the game after, so we'll give you a rest on that one.
Yep, no problems.
The coterie will be all in next week. Thank you, team. It dragged out a little bit longer than I was expecting, but I didn't want to cut the great
it was kind of,
we having,
it was very good. Thank you once again for Magic the Gamer for joining us.
Work, Magic.
Make sure you guys check out Magic the Gamer on his channel here on Twitch. 100% awesome Aussie bloke, great gamer. Been a long time supporter and friend of Evldoa channel and the rest of us here. Welcome back to Yanti, Grim and Sadiq sitting in the Skype call listening in. So he's gonna do the thing and the stuff.
Thing. Start with let's start with Aaron.
Thank you for the shout out, Nutty.
All right.
Jax, whoever. Yanti. Whoever did the shout out.
It was something that Magic said in the chat. I can't fucking remember it now. God damn it.
I can come back to you.
Yeah, I'll come back to us all.
Write shit down, man. Write shit down.
Zane, what was your favourite part of the night?
Yes, that's Sadiq down there at the bottom corner.
I just love the RP. It was awesome.
It was a very good RP. Nice.
There was one instance there was where I was being taken to get a change of clothes. I thought I'd be taken away and taken somewhere else. That's where you're driving me.
Prince Taylor, Magic.
Again, obviously across the board, the RP was great. Zane, mate, I'm gonna clock you one of these days. But it's great. It's like I said, he's played the part of the Malky. But obviously for my standout, I would have to say is Marco and the execution phase.
Oh hell yes.
Cool, thanks.
That I did not expect.
Yeah, I was trying to keep that a little bit under wraps. You would have seen it as the Prince before, but I thought it would be much nicer to have a surprise.
Yeah.
Back to you, Aaron. Have you thought of what you were thinking of?
Yeah, it was when Magic said that Zane's going to be the Bill Gates of the Kindred world.
Yes. Yeah, I
I'm
remember
sitting there going, oh yeah, I can see that. And then like I keep on getting this get smart feeling with the way he wants to set up the entrance. It's like door after door.
And the cone of silence.
The cone of silence, yeah.
I've been getting the same sort of feeling. Yeah, just I don't know where the hell you come up with these ideas, Trash. But talking about microchipping and it's like what? But yeah, I think for me it was just the execution scene, the bringing in of the Gangrel sire and the children. I did see a couple of comments in the chat saying, wait, is he going to kill the kids or let them go? And it's like, I was thinking the same thing. It's okay, we've got children being embraced into this world, which I'm not like 100% familiar with all the laws within the Camarilla, but I'm pretty sure even in the average law in vampire world, it's really not the thing to turn a child. It's just not the done thing. So to have one of them killed was kind of shocking, but good. I mean, it definitely sort of plays into the part of what we're trying to do. Keep definitely a darker story. But yeah, the RP between Jaxon and the Prince, I think was just. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything. It was just that back and forth was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Good RP. This is Masquerade game is so good for that. Echo.
I have two little brief ones. The sheriff, when he is like, Zane, little brain power here. You and the prince is talking to you. You can talk fast. And the can we change our eyes, and then the flipping of the pen knife. That was good. I like that. So those are mine.
And Pip.
What do vegans taste like? Just this constant questioning of everyone who'd come up to him, and then the prince like leading in and whispering to us. I'm like, oh my god. So good.
So good. It was good.
It was great moments all round.
Everyone RPs well. Like last game and this game, you guys were RPing really good. The role play. I mean, less dice roll, more role play has actually been really, really good to see. When the dice roll comes, though, it's good fun as well. For me, and I had the note of the prince getting out the pen knife to change his eyes. I thought that was good too. Mine is a double up, really. Zane wanting to mark all kindred, and then Jaxon saying, well, have you heard of the Holocaust? that sort of combo between them was pretty funny. Yeah, and the prince, he's very old school. Not knowing, well, asking about the tag system, just think the questions he was asking about what you guys were doing was really good. I felt that it made him seem like he didn't have, minimal knowledge in technology, as well as then trying to show mercy to the children. I thought that was admirable. But in the long run, when the boy was being smart mouth, he said, right, here goes, and he's giving him that dread gaze just to show who's the fucking boss. So I thought that was really cool. So well done, team.
But showing mercy at the same token, it was mercy, but not mercy at the same time. It's just the way it was done was really well done. The way you played the whole, I'm in charge, these are the rules, you must die, versus, well, I'm sorry that this has to happen to you, but this is how it is.
Absolutely,
very black and white kind of thing.
Magic did give the option for someone to take them under their wings first, which I thought was a really admirable thing for the prince to do. Showing that moment of I'm merciful if I need be. But people needed to see someone die.
Gotta have it. What's up, Reaper? Welcome for hanging out, dude. Cheers, buddy. So that's our Vampire the Masquerade for this week. Of course, we'll be back on Wednesday night here on my channel for some Curse of Strahd, where you'll see some of these faces again as well. This coming Friday, I think we're doing session 0 for the next installment of the Icespire Peak series, and then next week we're on session 1, I believe. So just before we go, I'll get Magic. If you want to just give people all your details, dude, socials, what you're up to, and that before we go, where they can find you.
Yeah, sure. Pretty much Twitter and Discord are my two main socials. You can find me on Twitter at Magic the Gamer. Obviously, my channel is Magic the Gamer as well here on Twitch. For those who don't know me, I've taken a bit of a back step to my streaming, so I don't stream as much as I would like to. So at the moment, I'm only streaming 2 nights a week, which is generally a Tuesday and a Thursday, with optionals thrown in if real life allows me to. So I do a lot of RPG stories, so that's why I love being part of the crew here, because it plays into things that I enjoy as well. So, but at the moment we're going through a playthrough of Darkest Dungeon, something that I haven't done for a long time, and yeah.
And is involved in the Icespire Peak series too, my dad.
I will.
Thank you, Mina. I forgot about that. So same for you, Yanti.
First campaign, like full-on campaign. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to it all.
Miss Yanti as well. Give everyone a rundown on your channel too while you're here. Most of the people here already know you, but why not?
Yanti of Yanti1 on Twitch and also YouTube, and my Discord and my Twitch channel. We do D&Ds on Fridays and just general gaming chaos on every other day. So.
And don't forget to add points to the Horror Stream Challenge whenever it comes up.
Oh, no!
Anyway, so that's us, guys. I will be back. I have not got any schedule for Monday or Tuesday, but Season 4's just dropped for Call of Duty, so I might be doing a bit of that tomorrow and Tuesday just to do some leveling up. So if you want to come hang out, see me kill lots of people, Chase, if you want to come and join, do some Black Ops TDM stuff probably tomorrow night. I think I just hit level 25 on the season already, 25 or 26. So unlocked a laser light machine gun. It is crazy. So come and check that out tomorrow or Tuesday. Wednesday back here for Curse of Strahd. Some more D&D goodness. So have a good evening, everyone. We should probably raid because that's the polite thing to do.
And I'll say see you later because I have a 5 o'clock get up.
Yep, no worries, Bears. We'll catch up. We'll see you Wednesday as well.
See you Wednesday.
So, guys, who shall we raid? Let's see who's in the Dungeons and Dragons section tonight. We got... Geez, that's been running for 6 hours. Holy crap. Wettest Orb. That's Aussie DevFro's playing in that, but the Wettest Orb, they've been running for an hour. Let's go. So I think it's a different GM. No, same GM, but we'll raid these guys. Aussie DevFro, I think, is playing in this one. He's I think we've raided these guys before. No, I'm not following them, but we'll raid them anyway. Second, set up the information. Alright guys, that's it from me. We will see you again possibly tomorrow night. Take care.